organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, riots in cyclone country. We've got the latest on the Iowa State violence that put one student in the hospital.
And 'tis the season. We'll show you why allergies might be especially bad this year.
And in sports, the running back coaches sat down today with the media to talk some Hawkeye football.
We have it all at the top of the hour.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Sanchez.
And I'm Stephen Duran.
Breaking news out of Ames, Iowa. Iowa State University canceled its annual VEISHA celebration in the wake of last night's violence. Riots broke out late Tuesday night on Iowa State University's campus, leaving one student seriously injured. The riots began as students celebrated the beginning of VEISHA. It's a school-sponsored annual festival that goes on for an entire week in April. Live music and parties highlight the popular event. Early this morning, though, over 1,000 people gathered on campus, flipping cars, throwing rocks and beer cans at the police, and taking down lampposts. One of those lampposts struck a student who had to be airlifted to a Des Moines hospital. He is now in stable condition and conscious. 2 students were arrested. Many students here at the University of Iowa were upset about what their peers did, including Paige Guiazda, originally from Ames, Iowa. Her mom is a professor at Iowa State University, and she has friends and family who attend the university. She said she was disgusted when she heard the news and thinks it may be enough to finally put VEISHA to an end.
It's a long time coming. It's a downward spiral. I think the traditions come to an end, and I think it's unfortunate that a bunch of negative behaviors overshadowed an event that once glorified, the great accomplishments of a, good university. But I think it's also necessary to kind of put an end to this crazy behavior.
Over the past few months, the UI has been scrutinized for the number of sexual assaults on campus. And since April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, the rape victim advocacy program, called RVAP for short, reached out to students on campus today. At Burge Hall, RVAP volunteers from the ROTC worked to raise awareness about the importance of consent. This is the first year that ROTC paired up with the rape advocacy program, and RVAP representative Susan Junis says their help is important since the military has had issues with sexual assault in years past.
Having their help and having them present at these events really shows the military is taking initiative and working on addressing that issue there as well.
RVAP will have more events throughout the month to combat sexual assault and will visit other dorms in the upcoming weeks.
The good news, spring has sprung, but bad news for those of you suffering from seasonal allergies. You may have already noticed your allergies kicking in, but the worst may be yet to come. Our very own Megan Horahan finds out why sneezing might be more common this season.
If you're used to grabbing the tissue box for spring allergy season, be sure to buy in bulk next time you're at the grocery store.
Trees emit pollen. Pollen is what causes those seasonal allergies. Once these trees finally decide to bloom, those allergies will spike as well.
Iowa had a record-breaking harsh winter. When you combine high precipitation and climate change, it leads to more pollen production. This makes a difference in the severity of allergy symptoms.
It depends on the region, but yes, it can play true that if you've had a long, cold winter and spring suddenly hits with a lot of warm weather, there's going to be essentially a flood of pollen out there, and so people will really notice their symptoms very quickly.
Springtime weather starts 10 to 14 days earlier than it did 20 years ago. Pollen counts are higher, causing symptoms such as sneezing, itchy eyes, and runny nose to be magnified. It differs for everyone, but students walking to class face problems daily.
I would say that a lot of times it gets in the way of studying or even sleeping. Sometimes my eyes or nose will be running so bad that I have a hard time falling asleep.
Over-the-counter medications, prescription nasal sprays, and eye drops are all options for people facing symptoms. But there are simple ways beyond medicine that can also help.
Be mindful of the times of day when the pollen count is going to be higher. Make sure you shower before bed so that you're not carrying that pollen into your bed with you.
Consult your doctor if over-the-counter medications don't take care of the problem. Megan Horhan, Daily Iowan TV.
Depending on how severe, your allergist may recommend allergy shots, especially for people who have symptoms year-round.
In the wake of spending cuts, the Iowa City Public School District is preparing to eliminate some of their programs. The school district is cutting $3.6 million. Among the programs lost, 7th grade football, 7th grade foreign language, German language, and junior high general music. The district also hopes to spend less on supplies, substitute teachers, and professional development. But they say the cuts will not lead to layoffs of current staff.
It's been so refreshing seeing everyone dig out their spring clothing to enjoy this warm weather. But is it going to stay like this until the weekend?
Let's turn it over to Maria Palladino to find out. Maria?
Thanks, guys. Yes, thankfully this warm weather will stick around in Iowa City through the rest of this week and this weekend. Tomorrow morning brings high temps of 55, but there will be a 20% chance of rain. In the afternoon, temps will be around 63 degrees with partly cloudy skies. As we get into the evening, temperatures will fall to about 51 degrees with clear skies. Continuing through the rest of the week, Friday temperatures will be as high as 69 degrees with sunny skies. This weekend, you better grab your umbrellas because big storms are coming our way. Saturday brings wonderful temps in the 70s, but there's a 40% chance of thunderstorms. Sunday brings rain. There's a high of 59 degrees with a 100% chance of precipitation. Monday and Tuesday will bring a few clouds and highs in the 50s, with lows sitting in the 30s. Well, it looks like that's all I have for you tonight. Enjoy this beautiful spring weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Maria. And now it's time for this week's edition of Hawkeye Buzz. We'll toss it over to our own Alyssa Bergamini for the Buzz. Alyssa?
Thanks, Stefan, and happy hump day, guys. Welcome back to this edition of Hawkeye Buzz. Good news for those bowlers because guess what? Bowling is back. However, we found out it actually never left. Despite one local bowling alley's decrease in sales, the place is still packed every week. Daily Iowan TV's Sarah Bulmer looks into how and why people continue to roll the ball.
People in Iowa City are getting their bowl on. That's what this sign outside this Iowa City bowling alley says anyway. While some might consider bowling to be a retro fad or a game of the past, here in Iowa City, it's still very much alive.
It's league night tonight here at Colonial Lanes in Iowa City, where I've been assigned lane 18, where I will now attempt to bowl.
And I guess even I can do it. Owner Brad Huff has been at Colonial Lane since 1972, and he says bowling has always been an affordable sport with an endless spectrum of competition levels.
You know, that's the beauty of this. It's inexpensive. You can come out and you can do it, or you can spend a lot of money and buy a lot of equipment and really take it seriously, and everything in between.
And those who go bowling frequently say, with time, you can only get better.
You can do it throughout your whole life and you can do it when you get older. Whereas other sports, you kind of grow out of them. Bowling, you can develop, keep getting better as you get older.
What's left to wonder, then, is whether bowling will age as well as its players. Sarah Bulmer, Daily Iowan TV.
Thanks for that, Sarah. Colonial Lanes Bowling Alley is located right here in Iowa City, so go check it out. Guys, tossing it back over to you at the desk.
And now let's take a look at what's happening beyond Iowa. A school stabbing in Pennsylvania today. A 16-year-old student entered his high school and stabbed multiple people. In total, 20 were injured and 2 were in critical condition. The suspect was taken into custody and driven to the police station for treatment of a hand wound. A motive is not yet known, but officials are looking into reports of a phone call between a student and the suspect from last night.
Making progress on the mystery of Malaysia Flight 370, an Australian naval vessel again detected 2 signals that are consistent with the black boxes located in the missing aircraft. The signals are weak, making the search even more urgent. The locators only have the battery for about a month, and these signals are a strong indication that the plane is lying at the bottom of the ocean, where the search is now being focused. It was Football Media Day once again today, where our Daily Iowan TV sports staff was able to sit down with the running back coaches.
Let's toss it over to the sports studio for the latest on the upcoming 2014 squad.
Thanks, Stefan. Football is to come later on in the program, but tonight we start things off on the diamond. I'm Danny Payne.
And I'm Jalen Socek. Last night, the Iowa baseball team took a midweek victory over Kansas 5-3. Junior Sasha Kubel led the Hawks to their win, pitching for almost 6 innings. He finished the game with 6 strikeouts and 0 walks in the outing.
Iowa returned to face the Jayhawks today for Game 2 of the series at 3 p.m. over at Dwayne Banks Field.
More about that game coming tomorrow, but today, football assistant coaches Chris White and Bobby Kennedy sat down with the media to discuss their plans for the upcoming season.
Offense was the topic of the day, but specifically wide receiver and senior Damon Powell.
Damon is a valuable player on our football team. He really is. He does a great job in pass protection. He runs routes real well, catches the ball out of the backfield, and he's working on some things, in the running game that, we pointed out in the offseason that he needs to work on.
While his coaches plan for improvement, last season Powell recorded 12 receptions for 291 yards. That's averaging 25 yards a catch.
His ability to catch those deep balls is important, but Kennedy wants the whole enchilada.
Is get him to be a complete player rather than just a guy that goes deep. And he had a bunch of opportunities and he did some things really well. But he's not a finished product, just like, y'all get tired of me saying this, but I always say, we're a work in progress. Every year you start over.
While football is in spring practice prepping for their upcoming season, senior Jack Eckert is looking for his sport, the decathlon.
Let's toss it over to our sports reporter Taylor Axelson for her weekly What It Takes segment to see just exactly what it takes to be a combined events track and field athlete.
Not one, not two, not three. Jack Eckert is training for the decathlon, so that means I need both hands to count his events. Training for a 100-meter dash or a pole vault would be hard enough, but to train for 10 in one meet, that's extraordinary.
A lot of it's guts. A lot of it's just psychological, because if you don't do well in one meet, or in one event, then things kind of can spiral downward.
It's just hard because if you don't do it right, you can get really hurt. And like you mess up in long jump, you just don't jump very far. But if you mess up in pole vault, you fall from like 16 feet, and you're not always guaranteed to fall on the mat. You can fall on the runway, and you're not, you can fall on your head too. So, but that's one of the reasons I like it. Thrill.
The 10 events included in the decathlon is the 100-meter dash, the 110 hurdles, the 400, the 1500, high jump, long jump, pole vault, shot put, discus, and javelin. It would keep anyone busy.
It's kind of fun, and like for my personality type, like I couldn't do one event. Can't sit still, and I can't do one thing for a long time. So this keeps it like switching it up, and so I don't get bored,
Usually an athlete will compete in 3 to 4 events in a meet. Jack is competing in 10. So whether it's from the track all the way over to the field, this place is his playground.
The dynamic of a decathlon or heptathlon or any multi-event, it's 2 really long days out there, so you can't be like 100% focused all the time or you'll go crazy. So between the events, it's kind of what we do. Like we're very good at joking around with each other and cutting up with each other.
He has to practice alone a couple days a week, which is tough because he's used to being in that goofy mood with the other guys. But he really does show up when he needs to, and he concentrates on what he needs to do. It's a lot of mental toughness of just being able to come back from a bad event and pull through and do well in the next event.
Because when you think about it, it's not actually that long of an amount of time that you actually compete, because it takes 3 seconds to throw a discus. And so you have to stay relaxed, but when it comes down to actually like doing the throw or completing the jump, you have to get like in the zone and ready to go.
It definitely takes a certain personality to be successful in the decathlon, and most of us don't have it. I know I'll leave that job to Jack. Danny, Jalen, you think you guys could do it?
How fun that sounds, probably not for me.
You're right, Jalen. I don't even want to make the walk home tonight.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for tonight's show.
But be sure to tune in tomorrow for a look at the upcoming Iowa running backs. Guys, back to you at the desk.
Only with Daily Iowan TV can you get an inside look into Thursday's pages of the Daily Iowan. We've got more details about the Visha riots on the front page tomorrow.
And we'll show you how local public schools are working to keep social studies alive in the classroom.
Well, that's your most current edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.